So I've just got back from Italy where I've been driving around in a brand new Lamborghini with my best friend just for the fun of it. But you know what the real flex is? My Amazon FBA business was still running that whole week, fully automated and making huge profits. All whilst I'm abroad having the time of my life. So I used to be glued to my laptop 12 hours a day, grinding through storefronts, managing stock, updating spreadsheets, but I realized this was just taking precious time away from me. And I wanted to make the most out of Amazon FBA in every way possible, as well as just life. So now I'm doing it different. I run everything with automated systems, software, virtual assistants, and a prep center, just like the place behind me. And that allows me to spend so much time just doing what I want. I mean, in the past year, for example, I've spent about 4 months of that just living out in Thailand, making lifelong memories while still making 6 figures in profit. So this video is gonna break down how I automated large parts of my Amazon FBA business so that you can follow in my footsteps and earn passively too. So why should you automate Amazon FBA? So I think for everyone, obviously money is the main reason that you start a business like this. You want to make money, but there comes a point where either for operational reasons, like you literally just cannot work 2,000 hours per week or whatever, or just for the sake of buying back time to do what you want, it becomes less about purely making money and more about making money in a sustainable way, to be able to continue living life how you want to live it while still making loads of money. Obviously at first, when you run a business like this, you're going to be working some long hours. You have to put in that effort and you have to be willing to work, even more than you would at a regular 9 to 5 if you really want to scale to like crazy heights. But once you've got the systems in place to kind of help you take time off or whatever, as you scale, you're going to want to kind of buy back some of your time to spend more time just enjoying your profits and living life. And that's exactly why you should automate this kind of business. Not to mention the fact there comes a point with Amazon FBA where without automation, you just can't scale. You are limited by yourself. You're limited by how many hours you're willing to put in each day. And especially for, those doing it who are still working a 9 to 5 and only have a few spare hours per day to work on the business. Automation is the key to being able to scale up and eventually replace your job with that income from the business. And realistically, you just can't do everything yourself. There's a point that comes where you just got to take a step back and bring on a team member to help you with it. There's no way that I would have the time and the money to kind of enjoy the life I do without automation within my business. For most Amazon FBA sellers, the most time-consuming task out of everything is just sourcing products. You can source for hours and hours and hours and hours. There never comes a point where you just can't source more. You can always source more if you have the time. And this used to be my biggest focus as well. I was at one point sourcing, for 40 hours plus every single week, and just trying to find as many products as I possibly could. And I definitely would say that that is a necessary thing you've got to be doing if you are scaling a business like this. Not necessarily working 40 hours per week on it, but just putting in as much time as you possibly can into sourcing and getting really good with the sourcing and the deal analysis side of things. But nowadays, I play things a little bit easier and I rely on a few different ways of finding products that just mean that I don't have to put in the kind of effort into actually sourcing. So number one has obviously got to be my virtual assistant team, my VA team. These are a few guys I have in the Philippines working for me where they're constantly scouring the internet for deals and flagging up any potentially profitable products for me to be buying. I also use a bit of software called Chaos. So this links up to the LiveCops A2A monitors in the LiveCops Discord server. Now on these monitors, they have a constant stream of profitable products that you could be buying for your own business. And obviously you could just buy these things manually if you're willing to kind of spend loads of time sitting at your computer waiting for the next thing to kind of pop through on the software. But that is too much effort for me. I don't want to be spending all that time. And there are times when the really good stuff drops at 2, 3 in the morning and I'm asleep. There's nothing I can do about that. And that's where Chaos comes in. So it's super easy. You literally just enter in your kind of email and password for the Amazon account you want to use to buy that stock, and it automatically buys those products. You can then obviously review everything before stuff actually gets dispatched, just to ensure that you actually want to buy whatever it's checked out for you. But with that saves me so much time, easily 20, 30 hours a week that I could be spending just kind of sourcing these kind of deals for myself. And instead, I don't have to do any of that. Just every couple of days, I just check through what it's buying, approve the good stuff, cancel the bad stuff. And Chaos does all the hard work for me. It does all the checking out of stuff. And it's honestly, it's crazy the level of automation that it provides. I also really heavily use the LiveCops restock monitors. So this allows me to track for restocks at various different retailers across the internet, rather than just kind of checking these deals manually, every hour, opening up a product page, hitting refresh, trying to see if the really good thing you've been spotting has actually restocked. Instead, the monitors do that for me and I just get a ping on my phone every time that something restocks and there's something I should be buying. This just saves me so much time and also saves me from having to employ like a staff member to be checking this sort of stuff. I also use another bit of software called Storefront Bot, which is included in the LiveCops subscription completely for free. This allows me to track all of my competitors' storefronts on Amazon. That allows me to kind of see what other people are selling, get alerts every time they stock in a new product. And as soon as I get that alert, I'm able to then go and research that product and try and find where they've been buying it from. That just allows me to further increase the amount of products that I'm buying in and diversify where I'm actually finding those products from. And finally, I also just use the other deals that are posted in LiveCops by the staff in there. They're posting loads of online arbitrage deals and more. So these are just deals that you're straight away in the group able to see and just go and buy. Most of the time, I just stick to the ones that are like online arbitrage leads, stuff I can just buy from my laptop because it's super low effort. But sometimes I'll also dabble in the retail arbitrage side of things, which is where you're going to stores like Tesco's, Asda, B&M, and you're buying stuff in person. And in there, they have channels dedicated to each of these stores where they tell you exactly the products to be looking out for, how much they should be, and how much you can sell them for on Amazon. Now, sourcing is really only half the battle when it comes to this sort of stuff. We've also got the admin side of things and the logistics side of things. So first up, let's talk about the admin side of things. So I've hired all my VAs through Amazon Training Camp. There'll be a QR code on screen now to get signed up with them. They're an amazing VA agency, which basically means they train up these people in the Philippines, and then as soon as you hire them, they already know exactly what they're doing, exactly how to run an Amazon FBA business, and there's just nothing else you have to do basically. Like from day one, they know what they're doing. Obviously, I also give them my own guidance. You know, I've trained them on a few little tips and tricks that I know of personally, but pretty much out the box, they know exactly what they're doing. And because they're based in the Philippines, you only have to pay them a few £100 per month, which for them is an amazing salary for working remotely. Obviously, for a business working in the UK, helps us save so much on employment costs. You also don't have to worry about kind of sick pay, pensions, and all that kind of complicated side of things, which I've never really been keen on. And secondly, logistics side of things, you need a prep center. So I'm currently at All Things Prep right now. This is the prep center that you can see behind me. They're an amazing company. Again, there'll be a link or a QR code on screen now to go check out their website. Basically, instead of having stock sent to your house where you label it up and you send it off to Amazon, you spend all this time packing boxes, labeling items, packing a whole shipment, then realizing you put the wrong label on it and having to redo the whole thing again and doing this whole really time consuming process. Instead, you just send it to the prep center, you tell them what they're supposed to receive and where they're supposed to send it, like what SKU or ASIN they're supposed to use, and they deal with everything for you. And all they do is just charge you 50p per unit. So it's super affordable. It saves your house from getting filled up with boxes, saves your parents or your wife chatting your ear off about how there's cardboard boxes everywhere and how they're sick of parcels coming at every hour. And it also means that you're free to travel and just spend your time however you want. I mean, there's no way I could have been jetting off to Thailand for 4 months just to kind of be coming back to 4 months worth of stock that I had to prep all sitting at my house. I mean, it just wouldn't work. Prep centers are an absolute game changer and arguably the only thing that you can outsource from day one of running an Amazon FBA business, because it's just not worth your time. When you can outsource it for so little money and save so much time and effort, it's a no-brainer. And you can then spend that time that you saved on scaling your business in a more meaningful way, like finding more deals or building future systems for more automation. Despite selling, you know, 200, 300 grand worth of stuff every single month, I rarely see any of the stock that I sell. If I'm having to see something in person, something's probably gone wrong. I've probably sent in the wrong item, or maybe it's a customer return that's got really badly damaged and I want to keep it for myself, or something like that. 99.9% of the time, it gets sent to here, they label it up, they send it off to Amazon, and that's the last I see of it. All Things Prep even deal with customer returns. They'll even list your stuff on eBay, obviously for a small fee. They take the photos, they list it on eBay for you. It's an all-in-one service, basically. And now I'm not telling you all this just to brag and talk about how amazing Amazon FBA is or whatever. I'm just trying to show you guys what is possible when you outsource various parts of your Amazon FBA business. Because it is that. You've got to treat Amazon FBA as a business if you're serious, not just as like some sort of side hustle that you do on the side. If you're serious about scaling, treat it like a proper business. In every industry in the world right now, automation is leading the charge in scaling things up, making things more efficient, and Amazon FBA is no different. You know, I wouldn't be able to guilt-free jet off to Italy and go and ride around in a Lamborghini and do all this fun stuff that I get to do without knowing that my business is still scaling behind the scenes without me actually lifting a finger. So just to kind of sum things up, start with outsourcing your prep. That should be the first thing you outsource in your business. Also think about outsourcing sourcing. You know, if you find sourcing really difficult, or if you're just spending so much time on it and you're not really finding anything, it might be time to join a group like LiveCops, where you're able to see all these different resources, all these different channels for different ways to make money. And that will just allow you to still scale your business without sacrificing your time and your freedom. So if you are still in the trenches doing absolutely everything yourself, then this is your sign to stop. Automate, outsource, and scale. I'm living proof that it works. And since having this freedom, I've made so many great memories I would otherwise just not have. I wouldn't have had the time or the finances to do these things without just outsourcing. So if you want help doing it for yourself, join LiveCops today and start building a business that gives you freedom, not one that just drains it. Subscribe for more content like this. Drop a comment down below if you've got any questions about this or any thoughts, and I'll see you guys in the next one.